There are so many types of beehives from which to choose. In this video, we're going to talk about the Langstroth Bee Hive, probably the most recognizable hive in the world. Welcome to Urban Bee Project Australia's channel, where we are passionate about teaching you all about bees and how important they are to us. This video forms part of a series detailing the different types of beehives used in beekeeping. So, if you are like us and love bees and are looking for a fresh new way to help the environment, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our videos. Let's get into it. The Langstroth Bee Hive was designed and patented by American apiarist Reverend Lorenzo Lorraine Langstroth, thus the name the Langstroth Bee Hive. The Langstroth Bee Hive is easily recognized as the most common beehive in use in the world today. Chances are, if you have seen a beehive, it's a Langstroth Bee Hive or a variant of it. The Langstroth Bee Hive is a vertically modular colony management structure that allows the apiarist to conduct inspections and harvests with relative ease and safety in comparison to its predecessors. There are easily identifiable key features which make up a Langstroth Bee Hive. All Langstroth Bee Hives comprise of a vertically hung frame system, a bottom board, a brood box, a honey super, an optional inner cover, and an optional queen excluder. The Langstroth Bee Hive is designed to encourage bees to build comb in such a way that makes it easier to move comb or conduct inspections. By taking advantage of the bee space idea, that is the fact that bees will not seal up or build up in gaps between 6 to 9 millimeters, the hive discourages the construction of burr and cross comb and the gluing of hive parts together with propolis. This makes it easier for the apiarists to manage their colonies in ways that were nearly impossible before the Langstroth Bee Hive. Langstroth worked hard over time to develop the design of the hive, a culmination of years of research and apicultural experience. He patented the Langstroth Bee Hive in 1852. Although some measurements have changed, modern Langstroth bee hives still use the same basic working principles developed by Lorenzo Langstroth. Many considerations went into Lorenzo's design, but the biggest principle was the concept of bee space. That is, the understanding that bees will neither build comb or propolis in gaps greater than 6 millimeters and less than 9 millimeters. Bigger than 9 millimeters, bees will build comb for honey and brood. Smaller than 6 millimeters, and they will seal it shut with propolis, which acts like a superglue. Up until Lorenzo's design, most apiarists kept bees in three primary ways. The first, known as a skep, was a cone-shaped basket made of straw. It looks like a cartoon beehive that hangs from a tree. Another method was to hollow out a log. These were known as gums. Both these methods sought to replicate what bees would do in nature, but made it difficult to work the bees without causing damage to the hive or risking the destruction of the colony when harvesting honey. Another method was called the box hive. This looked similar to what we think of as a beehive today, but was closer in setup to the gum and skep method. They were simply a timber box with a void in which bees would construct their comb. The same constraints were experienced here as in skeps and gums. Others were taking advantage of the leaf hive, but for the most part, apiarists were using one of these three types of hives. So, the field was ripe for innovation, and that's where Lorenzo Langstroth comes in. Lorenzo, who had been a long-time avid apiarist, enjoyed researching and experimenting with his beehives, always working to come up with better ways to improve colony management. He is sometimes credited with the discovery of bee space, but it seems that two European apiarists by the names of Jan Giersen and August van Bellepsaar just beat him to the finish on that one. However, it does appear that Lorenzo understood bee space not long after the two Europeans, and independently. However, while Lorenzo is not the first to discover bee space, he was arguably the first to make the best use of it by implementing it in his design in the best way. Lorenzo drew heavily from the work and knowledge of Swiss apiarist Francis Huber, who invented the leaf hive. This style of hive was a fully movable frame hive that allowed the apiarist to open and inspect the hive with less disturbance to the bees. Lorenzo credits Francis's work as giving him the confidence to go forward with the idea for a hive. As he says in his book Langstroth on the honeybee, the use of the Huber hive had satisfied me that, with proper precautions, the combs might be removed without enraging the bees, and that these insects were capable of being tamed to a surprising degree. Without knowledge of these facts, I should have regarded a hive permitting the removal of comb as quite too dangerous for practical use. Applying the work of Francis and combining it with his own, Lorenzo found that the bees would not seal or build in gaps between 6 and 9 millimeters. This means bees would not glue the inner cover or lid of the hive to the rest of the hive, which, if they did, would make it nearly impossible and extremely destructive to inspect the colony. He eventually worked on the design further and patented his beehive in 1852, officially bringing into existence the Langstroth Bee Hive, a fully movable, vertically modular beehive. Unfortunately, Lorenzo did not get rich from selling these hives, as he struggled to enforce his patent and obtain licensing fees. The problem was the very thing that made it such a successful design. It was hugely customizable and easily replicated, meaning anyone could easily build it on their own and adjust it for their needs. His impact was still huge. His invention revolutionized the commercial apicultural industry. The Langstroth Bee Hive significantly reduced the cost for large apiaries and led to better colony management. This improved honey production rates and improved colony health overall. It's for these achievements and developments that Reverend Lorenzo Lorraine Langstroth is called the father of American apiculture. The success of his design and his subsequent work impacted apiculture so heavily that his designs were picked up around the world. So perhaps a better way to describe him is as the father of modern apiculture. Modern Langstroth beehives maintain most of Langstroth's original elements. The Langstroth beehive variants mostly vary in size as the design has been improved and customized in the past 170 years or so. Generally, all Langstroth hives will consist of the following. That is, a brood box, a honey super, a bottom board, a lid or roof, and movable frames. Additionally, many apiarists will use or choose to use the following optional systems, such as a queen excluder and an inner cover. You don't have to use them, but they do make it easier to manage the hives. For example, the queen excluder will stop the queen from moving up into the hive and laying eggs in honey stores that might be marked for harvesting. An inner cover will stop the hive from building bird comb within the roof of the hive. That said, many apiarists manage their hives well without these additions. The Langstroth beehive can be built using timber, normally pine, but most untreated timbers can be used, food-safe, UV-resistant plastic, core flute, which is used for nucleus Langstroth beehives, and polystyrene. The hives can be made completely out of one material or a combination of materials. For example, many apiarists will use timber boxes but may choose to use plastic frames, or a combination of timber, frames and plastic foundation, or plastic frames with wax foundation. Therein lies the greatness of the system, its flexibility. An apiarist can change and adjust it to better suit their needs and style of apiculture, and better manage their hives. Thanks to the flexibility of the Langstroth Bee Hive, there are countless systems and variants of the beehive. Mostly, they involve the different elements and preferences of the apiarist. There are some variations in the sizes of the boxes used to make up the beehive. Based on your preferences and the preferences of the apiarist, they may choose from a variety of different sized boxes. Additionally, an apiarist may choose from an 8-frame setup or a 10-frame setup. 5-frame nucleus hives are also constructed for new colonies or to be used as mating nooks. The Langstroth hive has many great advantages. For example, they can be easily built with basic woodworking tools or easily assembled from flat packs. They tend to be reasonably priced, with a full basic setup costing between $200 to $300 Australian dollars when purchased. They can be even cheaper when you build them yourself or bulk order equipment. They can easily expand and contract to the needs of the hive. They allow for simple and straightforward colony management. An important part of apiculture is to check and care for the colony's health. This is made simpler because of the Langstroth Bee Hive's modular design. They are easily transportable, meaning the hives can be moved between locations. This is important for pollination services, urban apiculture, and apiculture conducted in environments with difficult conditions. It is incredibly customizable. You can change it and adjust it to how you see fit. This means that no matter your approach to apiculture, it works. As with anything, there are some disadvantages to using the Langstroth Bee Hive system. They can be heavy and bulky to move around and handle. Once full with honey, boxes can weigh up to 50 kilograms. It can be overcome by using smaller boxes. If you need to move a whole hive with all boxes attached, you will need something to help you lift and move the hive. Depending on time constraints, they do require some time to set up. If built from scratch with limited access to tools and machining equipment, expect this to take even more time. It can be shortened by purchasing ready-to-go boxes that are delivered assembled and painted, ready to be placed on the hive. This does come at an extra cost. And a problem that all beehive types face, the hives are susceptible to theft. Their generic nature and mobility makes them easy targets for thieves looking to make a quick buck selling them to commercial apiarists. Beehives can be protected by ensuring they are kept in a safe location or equipped with a GPS tracker. Again, these can be costly to install. Is the Langstroth Bee Hive right for you? Given its wide presence, the answer is most likely yes, but there are a few things you should consider before jumping in. Langstroth Bee Hives are very cost effective, but depending on your time constraints, they might be too much work for you. Before purchasing the equipment, think about how much time you can commit to your apiary. This will help you to determine which time-saving extras are worth spending money on and which are not. Langstroth Bee Hives are the perfect beginner's beehive. When you first start apiculture, it's important to understand how bees operate. Langstroth hives allow you to easily access all parts of the hive and learn as you go. It's also easy to get additional help from fellow apiarists, as they will have plenty of experience using these hives. Langstroth bee hives are work though, but that is apiculture in general. When you start your apiary, you need to understand that, like many other domesticated animals, you need to care for the bees. They need to be checked and treated for pests and handled regularly to prevent them from becoming hostile towards people. If your idea is to just have a colony for the sole purpose of having honey without work, then this hive is probably not for you. Remember, the bees always need to come first. Lorenzo Langstroth revolutionized the apicultural industry, making it possible for apiarists, both commercial and hobbyists, to increase honey production and better care for their colonies. After patenting his design, he continued to study and experiment with bees. He went on to publish a book called The Hive and the Honeybee, which is still in print and available today. He continued researching and documenting which plants were best for the bees, planting many trees and flowers at his home called Langstroth Cottage in Oxford, Ohio. In honor of his work, the building stands today as a United States National Historic Landmark. Well, we hope that you found this video informative and helpful. Let us know your thoughts on the Langstroth Hive in the comments. And subscribe if you like this video and want more content. Until next time, make friends with a bee.